Greetings, folks. Red Labor here. I hope this day finds you well. I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't be happier. Just a few days ago, a minor political wish came through. I reject the two-party system because I do think Democrats and Republicans are nothing but a political dog and pony show. But while there's really not a corporate dime worth of difference between Democrats and Republicans, except for a few side social issues that are there to polarize and divide. There are Democrats that are better than your average Democrat, and then there are Republicans that are your worst of the worst. What I mean, I'm a leftist that is critical of the Democratic Party, but recognize that there are probably some decent, there are decent people within it. They're just losing a fight. They're just losing a battle working within the Democratic Party when the left should actually try to formulate a Labor Party. But that's another topic for another time. I want to talk about one of the reasons why I don't vote Republican, and it has nothing to do with a generic dislike of Republicans from a partisan Democratic Party point of view or what have you. I don't have a problem with the average person who's a Republican, whether it's my next door neighbor, whether it's the co-worker, a family member, a fellow church member. I mean, to sit there and dislike somebody who's a Republican or even may hold a viewpoint you might find repugnant is, I mean, that's just immature, and I'm not about that kind of immaturity. Sure, I will criticize policies, and there are people who are in office that I like to see gone. I mean, in most of my adult life, Senator Jesse Helms was the senator for North Carolina. I wanted him gone. Eventually, he did step down. Well, in Minnesota, Congresswoman Michele Bachmann decided to step down and not seek re-election. And I couldn't be happier. If there's one member of the U.S. House of Representatives that represents or is an embodiment as to why I don't vote Republican, it would be all summed up in this individual, Michele Bachmann. She is an extremist. She's crazy. She's loony. And to the point where the 6th District of Minnesota is one of the most, one of the strongest Republican districts in that state, and she was narrowly reelected in 2012. Folks, that tells you something. That tells you there were Republicans that couldn't quite digest her point of view. She's not really even your standard garden variety conservative. I mean, she's a loon. She's a tinfoil hat witch. She's worse than your typical. I mean, she's just worse than your typical. You know what passed for the political right. She combines 700 Club bullshit with John Birch Society shenanigans with the conspiracy paranoia of Glenn Beck. You damn right I'm glad she's leaving. She is a fucked up individual. I know it's not mature to use bad language, but I need to be very expressive at the moment, and doggone it, I mean, you know, she brings out the worst in me. She's just awful. Well, I mean, on her economics, I have a generic disagreement with her. If economics, as foul as it is, was the worst thing about her, you know, be like, and maybe she was, you know, just socially conservative on a broad range of issues, but not an asshole about it. It should be just another Republican, and I wouldn't be so incensed by her. But for a woman who hates the idea of national health care, but wants to use clinics in this country to force homosexuals and lesbians, to force them to become straight. I mean, that is just really whacked. I mean, it's one thing to be opposed to health care for everybody on the basis of economics or even a deeply rooted ideological viewpoint, but to want to see to it that it ain't in the government's place to pay for somebody's heart bypass, but they're going to be okay with forcing gay people to be straight. I mean, come on now. I mean, I'm sure even somebody as irrational as Rush Limbaugh or Michael Savage would probably think that's kind of whacked. Well, it also goes like this. I mean, the woman thinks that there are members of the Muslim Brotherhood in the Obama administration, in the State Department, in all kinds of areas of government. She makes former U.S. Senator Joe McCarthy of Wisconsin the communist witch hunter, the anti-communist witch hunter of the 1950s, look like a card-carrying member of the ACLU. I mean, she really believes that there are Muslim Brotherhood, moles in the U.S. government. She also believes that the Obama administration are going to find a backdoor way of allowing Sharia law to creep into America, and she thinks that former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was trying to find a way to get rid of the First Amendment to outlaw freedom of speech. Folks, this isn't conservatism. This is insanity. I mean, good Lord, she makes Glenn Beck and Alex Jones look rational with the way she's going on with these wild conspiracy theories. Now I'm going to talk about another area where I think there's a little bit of controversy. I have deep respect for the Lutheran tradition. It's not my tradition, but I do have a deep respect for the Lutheran tradition. However, she's also very calculating, because she was all her life a member of the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod, which is one of the most ultra-conservative fundamentalist branch of the Lutheran tradition in America. There's like three main Lutheran bodies in America. You got the liberal Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, which is a very liberal mainline Protestant church. You got the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and those guys are they're conservative, moderately conservative. They don't allow women priests the way the ELCA Lutherans would, and they're not going to do same-sex marriage the way that the ELCA Lutherans would, but they're not so ultra right wing, and it's not in the craziness of John Hagee or anything like that. I mean, they're probably a little more conservative than your more conservative liberal mainline churches, but not so far off the deep end. And then you got the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod, the Wells Lutherans, which she's a member of, and they express an anti-Roman Catholic, anti-Pope position, declaring the Pope to be the Antichrist. You see where I'm getting with this, folks. So you have Michele Bachmann, who it's funny because Barack Obama gets a lot of flack for 3 controversial sermons in a 20-year period conducted by Reverend Jeremiah Wright, which I believe Barack Obama certainly didn't endorse, and especially some of the extremist rhetoric and parts of that sermon. 3 sermons in 20 years, folks. Okay, I may not agree with what my priest says every Sunday at my church, But you know what? I'm not. I mean, if I ran for office, I'm not gonna. It'd be like whatever, you know. I mean, I can pick and choose what I want to believe. But the thing is, she belongs to or used to belong to the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod branch of Lutheranism, and she resigned from that tradition. A tradition she was baptized in as a child and was raised in, and she left them just before she decided to run for president in 2012, which means she had something to hide. And since she has something to hide, she's she's also unfit for office in that. From my perspective on that, she doesn't even have the courage to admit her anti-Catholicism. And and then she joined some evangelical church, which is probably worse than the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. On foreign policy, she supports torture, and she supports invading other countries, and she makes George W. Bush look like a peace advocate in comparison. That's how awful she is. She represents everything I despise about the Republican Party in regard to its current ideological package. I'm not offended if I have my personal views on abortion. And we're not going to get into that, but okay. I'm generally okay with people who are pro-life, but as far as the gay hating, and as far as the forced counseling of people who are homosexual, and as far as trying to invade other countries or advocating that and advocating torture. No, she's wrong. She's absolutely wrong. And she's the founder of the Tea Party Tea Party Caucus in the U.S. House. All across the board, another reason not to like her. But I'm very long-winded at this point, and I am planning to celebrate at some point her departure from Congress. But I tell you, folks, it is great. One less cancer in the U.S. House of Representatives, as far as I'm concerned. Her departure only could mean probably more freedom, not less, in this country. I mean, she is awful, and the fact that she's awful on just everything across the board. I mean, I'm just glad she's gone. She will be gone in January 2015. Good riddance to bad rubbish. That's what I got to say, folks. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Anyway, feel free to comment. You heard me enough, and guess what? I'll talk to you. I'll talk with you, and in some cases I may talk back at you. But please do comment. Have a great day.